Pro wrestling is one of the most dangerous avenues an athlete can pursue. The margin for error inside the squared circle is so small that one minor error can lead to serious injury. Moves go wrong all the time in WWE, and they can sometimes lead to wrestlers landing right on their neck. This can either lead to neck breakages and concussions, and even paralysis at times. But which times were they? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 times WWE wrestlers landed right on their neck. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. Brie Bella. Brie Bella's 2018 in-ring return was met with a ton of criticism as Brie had substantial ring rust. Sadly, this was resulting in her being reckless, and it was extremely lucky that this return was kept brief, as she simply shouldn't have been in the ring. In one specific match on Raw, she was teaming with her sister Nikki against the Riot Squad, and during the match, she managed to botch a dive to the outside not just once, but twice. On the second occasion, Brie came flying through the ropes, but the issue was that she didn't gain enough momentum, and it looked like one of her feet got stuck on the ropes. This resulted in Brie landing on her neck. It was an incredibly scary spot, but thankfully she was okay. Number 9. James Ellsworth. The post-draft landscape of SmackDown in 2016 was labelled as the land of opportunity, as superstars from up and down the card received the chance to become top stars on the show. One of these stars was enhancement talent James Ellsworth, who was involved in an infamous feud with AJ Styles. One of the most notable moments during their rivalry took place during a match between the two on SmackDown. AJ would go for a trademark Styles clash, but sadly Ellsworth landed right on his neck. Ellsworth incorrectly decided to tuck his chin on the move, and this could have resulted in him suffering a serious concussion or maybe even a broken neck. Ellsworth would later reveal in an interview on the Bischoff of Wrestling podcast that AJ managed to protect him from receiving a substantial injury. Ellsworth stated, "He took care of me too. In practice everything was fine and all that. It's just that instinct thing for a wrestler to tuck your chin. That's one move that you don't do it on. I felt so bad about it afterwards. They were all cool about it and everything because it looked good on TV. It looked like he killed me. It's not like it looked bad or anything. It was just that instinct of tuck your chin. I've been told to do it for 14 years and that's all it was. I was okay. It was fine. I didn't get hurt obviously, and AJ is, like I said it earlier in my humble opinion, is the best in the world. He knows how to adjust to things and everything was okay afterwards." Number 8. Jacy Jayne. The October 19th, 2021 edition of NXT 2.0 featured a triple threat match between Io Shirai, Jacy Jayne, and Persia Pirotta. The match featured a truly terrifying botch that could have resulted in Jacy Jayne taking an early retirement. She would go for a dive to the outside, but she landed right on her neck on the outside of the ring. It looked terrible, and it forced Persia to break character and immediately check on the condition of Jacy. Even NXT commentator Wade Barrett would call the botch horrible due to the horrific nature of the move, which had just unfolded before his very eyes. Number 7. Johnny Gargano. On the go-home episode of NXT before NXT TakeOver 30, WWE booked a match between Johnny Gargano and Ridge Holland. During the match, Holland would go for a mid-air power slam, but the move resulted in Gargano landing right on his neck. The match was immediately stopped so he could be medically evaluated, and even Triple H and Shawn Michaels came down to the ring to check on him. He was okay, just a little dazed, and the match was able to continue once WWE's medical team was satisfied with his well-being. It was fortunate that Gargano was perfectly okay, and it just goes to show that mistakes and botches can happen at any time in pro wrestling. Number 6. Shotzi. One of the top matches on NXT Stand and Deliver 2021 saw Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart taking on Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Now, although the match was great from an in-ring perspective, there was one notable botch in the match that almost resulted in a broken neck. Shotzi would go for a dive to the outside, but she overshot the dive and landed on the top of her head. It was truly terrifying to witness, and it was a miracle that she was able to continue wrestling. Due to where she landed, she was literally inches away from landing on the barricade, and if this had occurred, the injury she would have suffered may have been life-threatening. Number 5. ATrain. During Brock Lesnar's inaugural run in WWE, he was extremely lucky not to have broken the neck of former Intercontinental Champion ATrain. Lesnar and ATrain were wrestling on SmackDown in 2003, and Lesnar went for his trademark F5, but ATrain landed on the top of his head. The spot received an audible noise of concern from the live crowd, and even Michael Cole and Taz on commentary put their hands to their heads in utter disbelief. Somehow ATrain wasn't hurt, which is perhaps a testament to his neck muscles rather than anything else. It's kinda hard to pinpoint what exactly went wrong with the move, but Lesnar pacing around with a 300+ pounder on his shoulders for an extended period certainly didn't help. It's possible that Lesnar may have slipped or was too tired to perform the move effectively. Number 4. Samir Singh. The 2017 feud between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton didn't exactly light the world on fire. However, one of the few highlights of the rivalry were the Singh brothers, who were involved in some incredibly memorable interactions with Orton. One of these took place at the Backlash pay-per-view when, during the final stages of the match, Orton would emphatically slam Samir Singh on the announce table. Samir sold this by taking the bump right on his neck, and although it looked like he was hurt, it was truly the highlight of a lackluster match. The moment was enhanced by Orton's reaction, which was a mix of concern and bewilderment. Samir was thankfully perfectly fine, and he would later claim that he sold the move in the manner to earn the respect of Randy Orton, which clearly worked, as Orton was always first to praise the duo when they were brought up in interviews during this time. Number 3. Madcap Moss. Elimination Chamber 2022 featured a truly horrifying spot in a match between Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss. McIntyre would perform an inverted Alabama slam, and it resulted in Madcap landing right on his neck. This is a move which McIntyre has done 1,000 times over the years, and it was just a case of Madcap taking the move wrong. Now, he was absolutely fine following the spot, and all the individuals involved did a great job in making sure Madcap was perfectly fine before carrying on with the match. Happy Corbin, who was at ringside for the match, would discuss the incident during an appearance on the After the Bell podcast. He revealed, "I watched it happen, and I was 5 feet from it, and when I watched his head literally go straight into the canvas, first of all, I was in shock. As an athlete, the worst thing you can see is someone else hurt. It scares us all. We put our lives on the line, whether it be on the football field or a wrestling event. It doesn't matter, your life's on the line." So that was terrifying. You don't ever want to see anybody get hurt. Afterwards, he didn't even realize it. It was like, "Dude, are you good? This is crazy, you landed on your head." He was like, "Was it bad?" I said, "What do you mean? Go watch the replay." He saw the replay and he was like, "I feel nauseous after seeing it." Number 2. Lita. Lita and Trish Stratus made history on Raw in December 2004 as it became the first two women to main event WWE's flagship show. The match is widely regarded as one of the most influential and important matches in WWE history, but it almost resulted in Lita breaking her neck live on Raw. During the match, Lita would go for a dive, but Lita landed straight on her neck area. It was hard to witness, and it was an utter miracle that Lita wasn't seriously hurt. She discussed the botch during her Q&A at the Paris Manga and Sci-Fi show, mentioning, "A lot of people think that this is when I broke my neck. That was 3 years after I broke my neck. I dove out, and because Trish is much shorter than me, the trajectory has to go down. I did what we ended up calling the scorpion dive because my feet went over my head like a scorpion. I didn't know what happened. On that dive, sometimes we've seen people catch their feet on the ropes. I knew I cleared the ropes. When I hit the ground, I didn't understand, like, whoa, how did that happen? If you watch it back, I pop up like confused. I hear the crowd gasp and I was like, oh, okay, I think that might have looked bad. I'm gonna go ahead and take all 10 seconds of the ref counting to kinda just relax and refocus so I can continue on." And number 1. Biggie. A former WWE champion, Biggie is one of the most beloved superstars of the modern era. Therefore, when he broke his neck on the SmackDown in March of 2022, it hit everyone hard. On the March 11th edition of SmackDown, the New Day faced off against the duo of Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and during the match, Biggie would be hit with an overhead suplex on the outside of the ring. This resulted in Biggie landing right on his neck and fracturing his C1 and C6 vertebrae. It was the worst possible outcome, and fans as well as Biggie's peers were devastated. He announced that he wouldn't require surgery for his broken neck, and he was quick to share his gratitude towards the fans for their continued love and support. But there you have it, folks, 10 times WWE wrestlers landed right on their neck. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.